Oscar time, it's Oscar time. Oscar time, it's Oscar time. Oscar time, it's Oscar time. That's all I got so far. But I think it's a good start. Yeah. Anyway, I'm posting this video, or I plan to post this video, on Oscar Sunday. It is the Academy Awards time again. And though I don't take the Oscars seriously the way some people take the Oscars seriously, I still am interested in who's doing what, who's nominated. Before I forget, in the link, there's a link in the video description below on an essay video that I saw very recently about how the Oscars used to be bought and paid for, and they still are. It's a really cool video, so check it out. I don't remember the name of the person who did it. I think it's probably like the first time I've watched one of their videos, but check it out. What am I doing for this video? Not much. It's been a while since I last posted. It was January when I posted. It's a video that I do every year, which is the movies that I'm looking forward to seeing in the new year. I rewatched it recently, or at least I listened to it again, and I've become kind of a mushmouth. Not sure why that is. My teeth have started moving out of alignment slightly. I'm over 50 now, and that's happening, and I don't love it. For some reason, I don't seem to be pronouncing my words quite as clearly as I used to. Which isn't to say that I'm not talking as much. When I go visit my mom, I tend to read to her. We're going through a series of mystery novels, and if I'm talking for like 2 hours straight because I'm reading to her, reading aloud, my throat gets kind of sore. I'm like, I need to take a break. I need to take a swig of water and maybe a lozenge and just cool it for a little while. If you're curious, the books that I'm reading are by an author named Charles Finch, who's an American writer, but he's writing about a detective in London in the 1870s, or thereabouts. It's a whole series of books. I think we've read 9 so far. They're fun books. Charles Lennox is the main character. Charles Finch is the author. Charles Lennox is the main character. And there's a whole sort of supporting cast of characters we get to know over the course of the books. They're fun. They're fun. It's nice seeing the characters evolve, and, you know, there's a murder in at least each one of the stories, so there's something for Mr. Lennox to solve. It's kind of cool. Like I said, haven't made a lot of videos lately. Partly because last year I tried to make a video like 3 different times, and I wasn't happy with the video each time I did it. And so I just never posted any of them, and I haven't done anything since. The video that I wanted to make was about Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer passed away April 1st of last year. And given that I was a longtime fan of his, I had some thoughts to share about that, in much the same way that I had thoughts to share about Tony Scott when he passed away. Which is a funny coincidence because Val Kilmer ended up working for Tony Scott like 3 different times, plus 1 episode of TV. Val Kilmer was someone who I became a fan of despite the fact that he wasn't in a franchise that I was following when I was a kid. Wasn't in Star Wars, wasn't in Star Trek, wasn't in Superman. But he had this thing that I found very compelling, you know, smart, you know, great speaking voice, is very funny, you know, yeah. And I was very disappointed to learn that he had to get a tracheotomy, and that kind of ruined his speaking voice, you know, and then he passed away from pneumonia back in April of last year. So it's been almost a year since that happened, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what he meant to me. And I think it had something to do with living vicariously through his smart-ass characters, I guess you could say. Especially guys like in Real Genius, the physics whiz who was one of the main characters in Real Genius, which is a comedy that came out in the 80s. His Doc Holliday from Tombstone, probably my favorite performance by him, despite the fact that I don't like the movie very much. And in the 2000s, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr. He was great in that movie. He's been great in a lot of movies. In some movies he hasn't been as great, probably because he maybe just didn't feel inspired by the material, you know. Yeah, I became a fan of his as a kid despite the fact that he wasn't in he wasn't playing a character that appeared in a whole series of movies, at least not until Top Gun, of course. Top Gun Maverick being his last role. And that, wasn't a franchise, of course, until the second movie was actually made. It was like a standalone movie for a lot of it. It was beside the point. Anyway, what I'm saying is, Val Kilmer was the kind of guy I wanted to see get away with stuff, Get one over on people, come out on top, and have a, snappy put down to go along with it. It's great, I thought, that he got to work for Shane Black, because nobody writes better insults, characters insulting each other, than Shane Black. So I was very pleased by that. But it got me thinking about how I used to work with this guy in the 80s, in the 90s. And he was a big Clint Eastwood fan. And one day I said to him, hey, there's a great new Clint Eastwood movie that I've seen before and it's excellent, we should go. You should check it out. He's like, sure, right. Well, unfortunately, that movie was Unforgiven. And I say unfortunately because my friend, my coworker, didn't like the movie at all until the very end, when he finally started going boom, 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 and gunning down all the bad guys. Up until that point, he was not, on his game. And my coworker did not like that very much because he just liked to see Clint Eastwood kick ass. He didn't care that that was not the point of this particular movie. So Val Kilmer was a guy like that for me. Like my coworker, like Clint Eastwood, that's sort of how I like Val Kilmer. Only he would kick ass verbally for the most part instead of physically. Yeah. I got around to seeing Thunderheart finally. Thunderheart is a Michael Apted thriller in which he plays an FBI agent who is like very, very slightly Native American, and so he's assigned to investigate the case of a murdered Native American on a reservation. Decent movie, but I really wouldn't say that it's like one of his best performances or one of the best films he's been in. Let's see, what else? Yeah. How about TV? Let's talk a little TV. I finally finished The Handmaid's Tale, which is a Hulu series. There's a spin-off that's about to start in April, and when I read what the spin-off was about, I'm like, ooh, that's a spoiler for the end of The Handmaid's Tale, so I better finally finish. I only had about like 5 episodes left to go, so I managed to finish a few days ago. Grim series, pretty grim. Maybe I should have just watched each one as it came out each week rather than try and binge them, because that didn't work out so well. But it's a good series, a lot of really good actors in it. I thought it was really funny, the occasions where Elizabeth Moss, who plays the main character, was also the director of the episode, because she would emphasize her close-ups very greatly in a way that I found funny. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this new series. Bad news about Hulu. Just learned on Saturday that Hulu saw the pilot for the new Buffy series and they are not going to make it. They're like, nah, we don't like this all that much. We're not going to, put in an order for a whole season of these episodes. Which is a shame, because I kind of wanted to see what was going to happen with that. Despite my not being a fan of Joss Whedon anymore. He's not involved. It's just other people picking up the character, picking up the mythology and running with it. But that's not happening. Something could happen at some point in the future. Yeah, it won't be that particular reboot, which is bad news for the girl who was chosen for the lead in the new series. She's going to have to find something else to star in. Too bad. Same with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But then again, she does have the new Ready or Not movie coming out, so that's cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, speaking of the infamous Joss, Firefly. What's going on with that? As I record this, it's the day before the Oscars, not the day of the Oscars. But March 15th is also the day when there's going to be some kind of announcement about Firefly. The cast have been making Instagram videos with Nathan Fillion. The cast of the old series are like, hey, you want to do it? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And like, what are they going to do, huh? Given the actors who appear in these things, it's obvious that it's something to do with Firefly. Is it a series? Is it a one-off? We don't know. At least I don't know. You know by now because, you've watched this video after March 15th and you're keeping up with all that stuff, aren't you? Yeah. So, the Oscars. They're tonight. As of you know, I'm posting this video of the night of the Oscars. It's funny how I keep calling attention to that. I'm curious about it. I've seen some of the movies, but not all of them. I've been sort of iffy about Hamnet because one of the people who I follow on YouTube, you know, a reviewer who's pretty tough, you know, she has very high standards. She didn't like Hamnet very much. She called it a shameless tearjerker. I'm like, well, I guess that's a reason not to see it. Not that I'm opposed to shameless tearjerkers, but I still have not to this day seen Patch Adams. I've read nothing but bad things about it, from critics anyway. People who actually have seen the movie, regular non-critic people, I don't know what they think about it. Presumably they really like it because it's a well-liked movie in general. So I'm told. Yeah. Aside from my not having made Val Kilmer movies, I also was invited to collaborate with Austin a few times. Those of you who are fans of Jim Grisriel, of course, probably know who Austin is too. One of Jim's principal fans. He invited me to make a video about my favorite animated character, and he invited me to make a video about Shane Black. I have good news, Austin, if you're watching. Shane Black's new movie, called Play Dirty with Mark Wahlberg, has no private detectives in it. Not a single private detective in the whole movie. You're going to love it. No, I actually don't know if you're going to love it or not. But, you know, there's a chance you'll like it more than, you know, the movies in which there seem to be a limitless supply of private detectives in the cast. That's not true. There's only one private detective per Shane Black movie. You know. No, not really. But, you know, he makes more movies about private detectives than your usual writer-director. Anyway, that's kind of it. I just want to do a little, you know, catch up. Here's what's going on with me kind of thing. I am in the midst of watching the movie that Ethan Hawke is nominated for Best Actor for, Blue Moon, which is a Richard Linklater movie. I missed it in the theaters. I'm watching it now on disc, so I will finish it before the ceremony. And I don't think that he'll win, but I'm glad that he's nominated. He's a great guy, and I like Richard Linklater a lot. Yeah. What else? Yeah, that's kind of it for now. Hopefully I'll be able to take more time to make videos more recent in the coming months. But honestly, please don't expect any more than like one video per month. I mean, that's like my max right now. It's just like, do I have the opportunity? Do I have anything to talk about at all? The answer is usually no. So that's why I haven't made videos. So, but hopefully that will change. I'd like it to change because there was a time when I just couldn't wait to get on YouTube and just talk about everything movie related on my mind, and I did it like relentlessly. And I was part of a collab channel for a number of years. That was lots of fun. Yeah, but that's what's going on right now. Aside from my teeth moving out of alignment. Yeah. So, take it easy, man. Thanks for watching. See you later.